can't even get dropped off at a fucking gas station because the Ku Klux Klan run that?
Yeah, a gas station, a bus stop right there. It's Hazleton, but it's really Brewston Mills.
And that's really Ku Klux Corner is what it sounds like. Shit. What's up, everybody? I'm Blessed and Free. Welcome back to another episode of DOC TV. So I got a guest today on, usually you guys know I like doing interviews. I like bringing people on. You get different perspectives. His case is quite different. He's done a lot of time, 25 years, I believe, in the federal prison system for a non-violent crime. Nobody was hurt. I want to talk about that shit in today's interview. I want to talk about, the mental state, the spirituality that you go through when you're in federal prison, fighting different moral codes and convict codes. So we're going to jump into it today. If you're new and you're tuning in, that's the type of shit I talk about on this channel. So do your boy a solid, man. Hit that subscribe button and turn your post notifications on. So, man, why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself? What's your name and where are you from?
Hello, everybody. My name is Kevin Haynes. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I'm back in Brooklyn, New York. I am 53 years of age. I was convicted of armed bank robbery, of several armed bank robberies within the Eastern District of New York. I received 46 and a half years. Of that, I did 27 years in the federal system.
All right, man. So let's talk about that for a minute because, was anybody hurt during the bank robbery? Did you punch anyone, shoot anyone?
No, no one was even so much even spitted at. Basically, they say it's crazy, but basically they say if you rob a bank with a gun, that's defined as a crime of violence, period, whether you hurt anybody or not. Lately, with most drug cases, they says it's not a crime of violence. So it depends on, it's how Congress got it drafted up. It's really ridiculous. If no one got hurt, it clearly shows the intent. The intent isn't to hurt nobody. You just use it to achieve you use the gun to achieve an objective. It was used to achieve, I'm not glorifying it, but it's basically used to achieve an objective. The average bank robbery is, 9 times out of 10, the average bank robbery is nonviolent. There's more violence that comes from drugs and drug dealing than there are with a bank robbery.
Crazy part, what you said, man, is how the Congress puts the laws together. They put them together where there's so many fucking loopholes that there's not like a golden standard. Like, yo, you go rob a bank, you get this much money, this is how much time. It's individual. And you just reminded me of that the other day when we were talking and you sent me that picture of the white boy that, had multiple felonies, had been arrested like fucking 18 times. And he got like, I don't know the exact number, but he got like 3 years, something low, right? And then you have the black guy who never been in trouble and committed one felony that was like nothing compared to the white boy's felony. And he got, how much time did he get?
20-something years. That's
the crazy part. So that's what I want to get into today with you. And I know you being a black man, you have experienced a lot of injustice because it's a good old boy system, bro. So, all right. So you got caught for the bank robbery. Did you do that solo or did you have like a crew where you guys were running together?
It was a crew, but the only one who could bring the crew in was me. I had, cause the guy who initially told didn't know nothing about them. So, I took the hit for everybody.
So they all cooperated against you?
No, just him.
And then you were just like, fuck it, man, I did it all?
Right, pretty much.
All right, and that's when they handed you how many years?
46 and a half years. 500, in the feds, they go by the months. So they go 558 months. It sounds like nothing, then you realize, oh, that's 46 and a half years.
That's why they say it like that, I think. What did your co-defendants get, man?
He got 17 years. And then later on for cooperation and everything, he ended up getting like 10 years.
All right. Well, since we're talking about cooperation, man, you did 27 years in the federal prison system. What would you say is the percentage that people cooperate?
I'm going to say it's like 90%. And here's the reason why. This is why the feds have a 98% conviction rate. Because most of the guys cooperate, so therefore everybody else have a tendency of copping out. So therefore, if you copping out and no one's going to trial because you don't flip one of their co-defendants, flip by mean getting them to cooperate, then yeah, you're gonna have a high conviction rate. So that's big. When I first went in the federal system in 1993, that wasn't big. I mean, the stand-up guys outnumbered the rats. Now it's to the point where the rats is outnumbering the stand-up guys. To now they have special jails just for these guys. They put the rats and the pedophiles all in the same jails together now.
Yeah, like the low, they'll usually have them, or in state, like in California, man, they have like a fucking whole prison called SNY yards where people are dropped out, chomos running the yards, everything, man. The reason I brought that up, man, is because I interviewed a guy that was known to be on people's paperwork. And I think the general public, even like the thugs that have done state time and some fed time, are delusional, man. They think people aren't snitching. And there are so many people that you wouldn't believe that are cooperating because it's set up by them for that's how it all works.
Listen, see, they start with this. They're giving out so much time. And then they tell you, well, what about your loved ones? And what about this one? And what about that one? And they're giving off so much time. So therefore, when you see this guy get 130 years, and then they're offering you this 5 years to tell, or 20 years to cop out, or 180 years like we just gave that guy. 9 times out of 10, the guy, he just left the street. And what they do, and like I was in MCC, I never made it to Brooklyn MDC. They have the conditions there is cold. They half feed you. And when you look right out the window, you can see the Brooklyn Bridge. You can see the cars driving. And on the weekends, you can hear the loud music playing. And you think, hey, man, I used to be going to the clubs in Manhattan. And you think, man, I got to hurry up and get home. So they create a climate and a condition for a person to want to roll over and rat. But you just got to be strong. You just got to be strong.
You did a lot of years, bro. So I just want to say welcome home, man, because I know that had to be the fucking best feeling you ever had walking out those gates.
Not really. Listen. I would like to send a shout out to John B. Gleason. He's a retired federal district court judge for Pimpleton and Du Bois. And what happened was I was fighting my case, and we had started a Mercy Me 924C group, Ian Owen and Devon Moss. But anyway, make a long story short, in prison, we had wrote him because he had did this thing called the Holloway Doctrine. Well, he was a judge at the time, and he told Loretta Lynch, who was a prosecutor, to see if she can drop some of the 924Cs. Because I got 45 years in gun counts. That's what put me away. It wasn't the banks. The banks was only 18 months. But the prosecutor, because I went to trial, they added these 924C counts, which gave me 5 years for the first 924C, 20 years for the second 924C, and 20 more years for the third 924C, which give me 45 years. They make you a career offender all in one indictment. But this judge seen that it was wrong in how the prosecutors was doing it. And he ended up talking to the prosecutor and says, drop one of these things off this guy so he can go home. So the prosecutor went on and they did it. And from there, it was called the Holloway Doctrine. And when he retired, he contacted another lawyer that represented this guy Holloway and said, them guys in Louisiana who got that group, tell them give me 20 names of the guys I may be able to help. And I'll do their case pro bono. And he did it. And that's how I ended up getting home.
I was your guardian angel right there.
Man, I love all of them. Marissa Tenney, Steve Tagger, Judge Gleason, God bless you all. But what ended up happening is, so he fighting the cases 5 years. So I mean, boom. So they sent me from USP Pollock, Louisiana to Hazleton. Hazleton's a hellhole. It's a hellhole. Racist hellhole. At this time, we going through with the officers, this, that, and other thing, and so the officer tell me one day, because they play with you. They play with you like that. But I don't play no games. So he said, hey, Haynes, pack your shit. I said, what, I'm going for my transfer? They said, no, you going home. I said, going home? I'm looking at him. He's smiling like, yeah, you leaving. You going home. I said, man, get the fuck away from my door. I told my cellie, I said, hey, man, you want some coffee? We're going to fix us some coffee because we were on lockdown because of COVID. So I fixed coffee. I like kick back. And I got my leg up, and we all drinking coffee. I said, "You heard him, my celly." He laughing back and forth. We straight clowning. Next thing you know, they had an emergency count. We put the IDs in the window, and the warden and all of them came through. Lieutenant, and they cracked the open door wide and said, "Man, you got to get off this compound by 4 o'clock." I still couldn't believe it because I've been hearing, "Man, this is it. You're going home." So I get cleaned up. I grab my stuff. I sign all these papers, and so. The marshals, I'm outside now. The marshals, they take me to put me in the car. They said, "Well, we can't take you to the Hazleton." It was after maybe like a little bit after 5 o'clock. The sun sets early then, so they couldn't take me to the Hazleton bus stop because it's a lot of Klan members there. So they drove me. They would have killed me down there.
This was what year?
This was last year.
So
I got
you can't even get dropped off at a fucking gas station because the Ku Klux Klan run that?
Yeah, a gas station, a bus stop right there. It's Hazleton, but it's really Brewston Mills.
And that's really Ku Klux Corner is what it sounds like. Shit. That's crazy.
They drove me from Pennsylvania. They drove me from Hazleton, West Virginia to Pittsburgh, PA, and dropped me off at the bus station there.
Bro, I'm going to be real, man. If they dropped you off at that gas station, you're a big dude. You just did 20. Half them Klan members are pussy ass. You know what I'm saying? You probably wreck them all.
But they got guns. Yeah, but they got guns.
Yeah, that's a fact, bro. But I'm saying no guns. All those dudes are pussies, bro.
Without a doubt. But so when the marshals, they give you the money and everything. So when the marshals left, shook my hand and told me they wished me the best. And when they actually drove off and left, I was like, wow. Now I got to figure out my way to get home. And this is in the height of the pandemic. So I end up making it to New York. So when I get to New York, nothing's the same. Nothing's the same. I'm on 42nd Street and 8th Avenue. This is, like I said, at the height of the pandemic. I'm the only
27 years later.
Exactly. 27 years later.
What?
Right, exactly. So I'm looking around. Nothing is the same. So I go to 42nd Street, and I'm on 42nd Street. I'm on 42nd between 7th and 8th Avenue.
This is in Brooklyn, right?
No, I'm in Brooklyn now.
Where at? Bay Ridge?
No, I'm in East New York, Brooklyn.
I stayed in Bay Ridge over the Verrazano. Take a left, up back on the Ave.
I know you're over there by 86.
I ran away there, bro, when I was 16 on the run.
Okay. I know where you at, over there by 86th Street. I know you at right there by the bridge. Okay, so
well, tell the people, man, it's all said and done. You know you're a free man now. You made your way back to New York. Like, where was your mind at, man? Like,
I'm at the height of the pandemic. So I get out. There's nobody really on the street. I'm standing on 42nd Street between 7th and 8th Avenue, which is a very busy street, by myself. No one's out there. I walk up the Broadway. It may have been me and all the 10 people. The whole city changed because they got these monitors everywhere. So I'm like, none of this looked like nothing. I left. So I'm like, yo, it's kind of like, now I'm frustrated. I'm kind of a little angry, frustrated. Like, damn. So I said, there's got to be some place in New York that still remind me of the old New York. And I'm thinking. I'm saying, you got to get home. I said, the subway station. The subway station got to still look like me. So I get down to the subway station. It's clean. So I'm like, hold it. The subway station, this is the top of the subway station. It's clean. I'm like, yo, this ain't the New York that I left. So I said, okay. I tried to call somebody. They took a lot of the telephones out because everybody have cell phones now. So I'm like, damn. So I go to the booth and I tell the man, hey, man, give me a token. I slide him $10. He said, I can't give you the token. So we all went back and forth. I said, give me a token. The whole time they don't use tokens no more. They use something called a Metro card. But I didn't know nothing about the Metro card.
He's probably looking at you like you're high out of your mind.
Yeah. So then he tell me, you go stick your money in the wall. I said, nigga, I ain't sticking my money in no goddamn wall. What's wrong with you people? Blah, blah, blah. So I look over there, and there's a man over there sticking money in the wall. So what ends up happening is I go over there and I look. It's a machine. It's everything computerized. I've been going for almost 3 decades. I don't know how to use that machine. So I went back to that toll booth. I said, look, man. I said, look, I've been going for, I don't know nothing about sticking no money in no wall, why you won't take the money or what have you. I said, but when I left here, we were still using tokens. I said, I've been going for almost 30 years, 27 years I've been going. I said, again, when I left here, we still just talking. I said, but sir, I really would like to be able to get on that train. He fanned the cop off and told me, go on and walk through the gate. So when I walked through the gate and when I got downstairs now on 42nd Street to catch the A train, first thing I smelled was urine. That urine hit me in the nose. I said, woo, home sweet home. This is the New York I remember. Hey, yeah. So I cleaned up. I see the people sleeping on the subway, and you see the the bomb there. I was like, yeah, right on. They looking at me like yeah, this is the city I live.
Hey, all right. So let's go back a little bit. When you got sentenced to the 27 years, man, the gavel hits. What was your mind state? Because mine, I didn't do anywhere near that time, man. But I was like, man, I'm going in and I'm going to fucking rock out all the way. That was my mind state.
Yeah. Here's the thing, right? When I came in, it was so many of us that was coming in at this time. Big cases in New York. And we was all young. We was all between the age of 20 and 25. We was all young. And we used to make jokes about getting sentenced. And we was laughing about the time we was getting, because no one ever believed that we was gonna do this all this time, because it's unreal. So okay, so we get in the system, we pretty much carrying it like the first place I went was United States Penitentiary, Lewisburg. So when I get there, it was the worst prison at the time. So I get there, I'm just a kid. I'm running around the yard. Yeah, I'm going crazy. I'm having fun. And I'm doing a law library thing here and there, but I'm going crazy. I'm having fun. It just didn't realize, it didn't sink in that, hey, man, these people something's going to change. Something's going to change in the law. We're going to have some fun. We're going to do this, that, and other thing. All right. And then.
But how was the federal prison system at that time so many years ago?
I'll be honest, it was extremely violent. Back then, we had no cameras in there. Let me tell you something. All that cameras crap that they got now, we had murders upon murders upon murders in Lewisburg. We had no cameras in there, and that was a good thing. You had very few rats in there, and that was a good thing. Yeah. No one knew if you was. So what I'm saying is, it was sweet. I'm talking about, we had metal spoons. It was the mentality was different. You had metal spoons, you had metal forks, you had metal knives, you had plenty to eat and everything in there. And no one would violate the sanctity and take a metal spoon, fork, knife out the kitchen back then. Because when you went in it, that was the only thing that reminded you of home or some sort of normalcy that's outside of that kitchen within that jail. Okay. So
but where are you at though? Where are you at in your is there cars back then? Are you having to get affiliated?
There was cars. You had your West Coast car, your East Coast car, and within the East Coast car, you had leaders of each car: the New York car, the Philly car, the North Carolina, all that. You had your cars. Then you had, and the cars was easy to deal with somewhat than some groups, because then you had like the Aryan Brotherhoods, and you had
Black
other
Gorilla
little
family.
Huh?
Was the Black Gorilla family big at that time?
No, not down there on the East Coast like that. If they was, I'm not saying they wasn't there, but if they was there, they really wasn't,
Yeah.
But at that time, that's what it was. We had some Crips, we had some Bloods and stuff like that, but most of them cats was from the West Coast that got in trouble on the West Coast, because that's what they do in the feds. If you get in trouble on the West Coast, they send you east. And same thing, if you get in trouble on the East Coast, they send you west, Midwest, or down south.
So who did you ride with, like when you were at that age, young? Like what car were you riding with?
Well, I was riding with the Muslims, because I am Muslim. I was Muslim prior to coming to jail.
Okay, so they're deep, right, in the feds as far as numbers wise,
and well respected.
Okay, all right, man. So now you're living wild, reckless, like you're saying, running around doing crazy shit, probably just that jit shit mentality. How long was it when you got into the federal prison system, besides knowing that, like, I'm really going to have to do this time? Did you really start to understand how corrupted not only the prison system was, but the criminal justice system aspect?
In 1995, we had a nationwide lockdown. It was called the crack riots, right? And I realized just how corrupt it was then, how they talked about the unicorn system, which is nothing more than modern day slavery, how they talk about that system. And within that system, they had damn near, they had a multi-billion-dollar industry where only those in law enforcement could invest in within the Bureau of Prisons. And they had guys making army pouches, mail bags, army equipment, cups, bowls, clothes, some of the same beds we slept on, they were selling, and different other things for pennies to the dollar. So that's when I realized then, and all the guys that tore up the jails, they ended up letting out of this. Like you went to the SHU, they lock you up, they might transfer you, let you out 5 or 6 months later. But what we did instead is we said we're not going to tear up jails when we was in Lewisburg. We're going to just leave it shut down. Tell the guys don't tear nothing up because we don't want the government, because that's what they want, more money. For the guys who kept them shut down, what they deem as brains, the thinkers, they can't get no more money. They can't make money. They can't get unicorn. They build, in Lewisburg, there's a steel mill. They make all types of stuff in this steel mill. But to make a long story short, they ended up starting a program for us, which is now called a SMOOTH. We were the experiment, the prototypes for that SMOOTH program. There was no SMOOTH program until 1995 when we did the experiment, when we was that experiment. And in that experiment, you had to stay in that program back then for 18 months to 2 years. I did all of 3 years in the SHU straight. I went to the SHU October of 1995, and I didn't get out until 1998 in USP Terry Hut.
Do you feel like when you did that 3 years in the SHU, like that it created like PTSD? Like, what are some of the struggles that you went through? 3 years, bro. Like, I've seen people in the SHU on like a year and a half on CM, and they're like delusional, ants are crawling in their cell. They're writing novels that make no sense. Like, they lose their mind. How did you cope with that?
Well, basically, we would get on the door at night. I mean, we get on the door at night, and like when I came up, you had support systems. I mean, each guy in the system tried to support the other guy mentally and psychologically, because everybody was going through something. So if someone had a bad day, you would catch them in, like if they gave you wreck that day, everybody would go out there and get a guy a hug and to walk him and try to talk to him, slide him a book, because we go fishing. We tear the sheets and we shoot stuff under the door, send them a book, and to try to carry each other along. And the same thing with me. If I was having a bad day, they'd call over and how you doing, man? And they'll make little talk shows on the door. You yelling, you talking through the door or underneath the door, and you have your bullshit. And you're having it mainly at night because everybody slept pretty much and that pretty much what carried you over from day to day to the point where you begin to look forward to the next day because of that. So that's what prevented us from having, like, a lot of us from having PTSD. But but it does take a lot of it does affect you psychologically. I'm not gonna say it don't, because you sit there and now you really have time to sit back and think and wonder. And you think and you wonder about a whole lot of different other scenarios that you normally wouldn't wonder. And it can get despairing because, like, what people don't know is that federal, I'm gonna tell you one thing. Don't let this government tell you nothing about no goddamn third world country and their prisons. Let me tell you that they just, that right. When we got in USP Lewisburg, and this is why it's created a stronger brotherhood amongst a lot of the convicts. After that riot, when they took us to the SHU, what ended up happening was whenever the showers wasn't in the cell, they building the prisons now with the showers in the cell. But back then the showers wasn't in the cell. So when you went to shower, they would take a gang of us to the shower, right? In shackles. They had 18-inch shackles on our feet and 18-inch shackles on our hands. And that's how we showered. So what you did, you wash part in your cell. Other parts you leave soaked up when you get in the shower, and told you only have 5 minutes. So when you get in there, you have to wash real quick. You would jump out your shower and turn your back so the other guy can wash your back. He would turn around and give you his rag so you can wash his back. Then y'all both get back in the shower, and they giving you literally 5 minutes, and you come back out with shackles.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why you should not go to prison. That is fucking insane, man. They did that shit at the golf where I was at, but bro, you had it way worse than me, man. And you're right. That takes a strong mind to get through that and not snap, because half the times, man, what, showers before you there? What was it? Monday, Wednesday, Friday?
Ah.
Okay. Yes. So you might get 2 of those out of the week, because one night they're bucking you. They'll say, oh, the water line over in O Dorm, they're working on it, man. So we'll see y'all Friday. Insane, bro.
I did 6 months in the SHU at USP Lewisburg. Then after that, they sent us to a Terry Hut, and everybody who came to Terry Hut, they whipped us and tortured us for about a month, about almost for 2 months, until we had the ACLU look into it.
Wow. Welcome to Terry Hut, huh?
Yeah. That's like Crackerville, USA.
So how many federal prisons have you actually been in? If you had to estimate.
Otisville, MCC, Otisville, MC, well, pre-trial was Otisville, MCC, sentence USP Lewisburg, from Lewisburg, Terry Hut, Indiana, from Terry Hut, Indiana, FCI Farrington, from FCI Farrington, Pollock, Louisiana, from Pollock, Louisiana, Hazleton, West Virginia.
What was the craziest prison out of all those, as far as like violence and corruption?
Pollock, Louisiana.
Yeah, I heard that camp that was fucked up there, bro.
Yeah, but listen, let me tell you about a place with a lot of violence. A place with a lot of violence, believe it or not, is good. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because it gives the officers something to do, and they keep inmates in their spot, in their place. And I'm gonna tell you, away from the real convicts. I'm gonna explain that to you. You have suckers trying to play tough guys and this, that, and the other thing, or doing nutty stuff. But when the place is real violent, and you know it'll cost you your life, 9.5 times out of 10, you're not gonna do something that's gonna cost you your life. Whereas when they sent me to the medium, and FCI Farrington in New Jersey, it was disgusting down there. It was rat infested. So now you have staff who looks at you as a rat and think you can't go nowhere. So you constantly have to check them. And then when they check your jacket, they'll come back and talk to you like you got some sense, because they see that, oh, this guy done been around the horn. But outside of that, you get to the mediums, it's rat infested. So therefore, the rats is all of, they think they're killers, but they can't go nowhere. The staff treat you bad. It's just bad. When you're in a USP and it's extremely violent, you can, in many cases, you can somewhat go there, get it, if you're really about your education, you can get your education, because you're going to be in the law library. Everybody ain't gonna be in there because it's a foolish compound. So therefore, it's me 5 or 10 of y'all in the law library. You can get your education. The staff ain't gonna be picking with you, because they're gonna have enough to do running back and forth, breaking up a knife fight or a gang fight or shaking down. So therefore, they leave you alone. Whereas in the mediums, they get everybody. I mean, they put everybody in this one category. I liked Lewisburg and I loved USP Pollock, and I end up getting I end up doing a lot of good things there. I mean, I went to school and I ended up doing a lot of good things.
Yeah, man, it sounds like that you used your prison time, maybe after you wilded out the first part, to really like try to figure out what you're going to do, how you're going to get out. And a lot of people don't, like you said, they play poker and run dimes on the stage table for 28 years. You know what I mean?
I ended up obtaining my paralegal from Blackstone and all that. So,
All right. So now let me ask you this, man. You do case law work right now for people in the feds?
Yeah, a few guys I work with.
All right. So is that hard, man? Like, does that take a lot of work and like time to do all that?
Not really, because if you're used to doing it, you have your own templates, your own personal templates that you're used to drafting motions off of. So it's not really then like, as long as you don't leave the law, like, okay, I've been home for a little bit over a year. So I still study case law. I still read different cases. I go to different sites and read different cases. So I pretty much try to stay abreast with the law. Different bills, Congress coming out. As long as you stay abreast with the law, it shouldn't be that hard for you to put together a motion and different other things. But you got everything's more accessible out here, though.
Do you feel like in the prison reentry like the whole reentry group as a whole. There's a lot of different, organizations and stuff like that. Do you have like any resources? Like if I was your homeboy and I'm getting out of federal prison after doing 10 years and I call you, like, do you have like organizations where where you could send them to get help?
Generally, your PO will help you with that. Mine that, and connect me with a counselor and everything, and help you get your work conditions, your identification, and different things. Because I had no idea nothing. So generally, okay. But it isn't great. Coming from the state to the street is better than coming from the feds. Believe it or not, the feds really don't have a whole lot of resources for a person coming home. They use a lot of the state's resources. My PO was cool with some counselors from the state, and that's what helped me. But otherwise, not the feds ain't really got nothing for you when you come home.
Yeah, so you kind of got blessed with who you knew. The reason why I asked that, man, is because like I was saying, there's a lot of reentry groups and a lot of guys, man, that I've noticed they get out of prison and they are either like this philosopher and have all the answers and are going to build these massive programs that are going to change the world, or they're still playing the victim and they're just like, fuck this, fuck them. It's all them. Or there's people out here like you that are doing law work, that are actually putting some action behind all this and getting shit accomplished. So where do you think the problem is in all that? Like, do you think it's individually?
It is individually. The problem is there's something called the Growth Hour with James Jones and Lisa Riley, Breaking Silence with prison reform. I work with them. I'm on the panel every Sunday night.
I saw them.
Okay, I'm on the panel every Sunday night with them. I still do that. I still do the law. Anybody can call in if you need help. We do shows or whatever. I do that every Sunday night from 8 to 10 with them. The name of the group is Lisa Riley and James Jones. They work together. Lisa Riley is Breaking Silence with prison reform. And James Jones is the Growth Hour. It's called the Growth Hour, but the show is like 2 hours from 8 to 10. But I still do that. I'm not. He's been in constant. I'm not gonna forget where I came from. So I still try to reach out and do my thing to guide or help and aid and assist. So, but what I'm saying about the prison groups, right? The prison, these guys that get out and start. It goes with being genuine. You got to really want to help some people. Some people start these nonprofits to get whatever they can get out of it because it seems and deems to be easy money. Like you said about the philosopher, and they're gonna get out and they're gonna help the world. It's not that easy because
it's not. That's why I said that.
It's not that easy because there's something called fundraising, and then you have to be selfless. You can't be selfish. You have to, if you genuinely want to help somebody, you have to genuinely help them. You can't take the money and do what you want to do. And the government gonna give, man. Look, once I get the money to start my nonprofit, you will see I have you down here. It's just
all about that, bro. So you just let me know, man. The reason why I brought that up is because I created this channel to expose corruption because I still got a lot of homeboys that are in prison and are going through it. They're getting ready to get out. I've been trying to look out, but bro, I'm only one man. You know what I mean? And I run a YouTube channel. I train 10 clients. So like I have a lot of shit going on. And I made a Facebook group because I want people to have access to stuff like what you're doing. So that was my question. So that's why I asked that question, man. But all right, so back to your prison bid. You're in prison. I want to know, man, out of 27 years in the feds, all these crazy camps that you went to, what was the craziest situation that you got into?
Well, I had when I was a Terry up, I had to beat a guy up over the TV set and
changing the channel.
Yeah. Genuinely, I mean, these, because they watch TNA all day, tits and ass all day. So I mean, I came up watching the news, and so I would watch the news from pretty much from 5 o'clock to 7, because I would watch the local news and the world news and stuff like that. So this is my MO. This is what I do every day. So one day, a guy, I'm sitting in, just minding my business. Big guy, don't want to say what he's from. He's bigger than me, and he ends up turning the TV. And I asked him, please don't do that. I got up and I turned the TV back. So I sit back down. He turns the TV, getting real disrespectful, And so I get back up and I turned the TV again. When I did that, he rushed me. And when he rushed me, I gave him the business. Almost knocked him over some chairs, and he caught his balance, took off and started running. But now I'm running after him. The whole unit jumped on me, to break it up. And I'm talking about, because I'm really a mild-mannered person. But when you get somebody that riled up, and you see how I was when I was in prison, I was big like that. And I was like, man, I was really, the feeling I felt, I could have killed that dude.
Yeah, you saw red, bro. It was a wrap.
So what ends up happening, what happening is this. I calm all the way down. I'm sitting in my doorway by the TV, and I'm looking up at the TV, and I'm looking down at the ground, looking up at the TV. What ran through my head is how many fools that got killed and lost their lives behind this TV.
A lot.
And I said, had you killed him or he killed you, or y'all stabbed up and killed each other, both of y'all have been gone, and that TV would have still been set. And
people still gonna be dying over it.
So I made an oath to myself, regardless of what, I would never fight over the TV again, and I just didn't do it.
Yeah. So back to you in prison, man. So you're not no slouch, bro. What were you weighing in that picture?
I was about 220.
But no body fat. Yeah. So did you really get into the prison workout routines and
Hey, listen, when they let me out, after I did like a year and a half in the shoe, they kicked me out on the compound at Terry Hut. I fumbled around, did the Lord, and then I had ended up gaining like 200 and almost 60 pounds. I was like, this is too much. So I started back my pull-up regiment, my ab regiment. Then as time went on, my mother, God bless the dead, she said, what type of books you need? I said, give me some workout books. So she bought me the Iron Man. Iron Man is the outstanding magazine. She bought me the Iron Man magazine. She bought me the Muscle Fitness magazine. Yep. They had a section in there of all the herbs that you take for like the cinnamon because we didn't have, they took all the protein powders out because of they adopted the Zimmerman bill. The Zimmerman bill didn't pass. This bill was stating that take the weights out, don't make stronger, faster inmates, and all this other crap. So it ended up happening, but they still had the weights there. So you had to compensate for it. So we ended up Muscle Fitness had a thing with all the herbs. So I would use all the herbs and make my protein shake. I needed protein. I wanted the soy. So they had soy. They was giving soy out in the kitchen. I had a kitchen connect. So what I would do is I would take the hard soy, take it out to the yard, use the weight, crunch it down into a powder, mix my a little bit of baking soda in that joint, because baking soda sends a synthesis to the muscle and charge it. Mix that stuff, a little cinnamon,
and whip it up a little bit.
and listen, and the powdered milk, you got amino acids.
Yeah, and you got soy protein on top of that.
Exactly.
You were on a mission. So all right, you do all that, man. You get back working out. So did you work out in the mornings? Did you work out at night? Did you do 2 a days? Like what was your split?
I did. It depends on, because sometimes we do competition. So I would do 1 a day early in the morning. And it's around summertime when we used to have our little competitions and peel off and do pictures, I would do 2 a day. It'd be 1 because I was an orderly. So I ended up landing an orderly job. So therefore I would come in, I would go out in the morning. And Terry Hut, it was sweet. It didn't matter what time of the year it was. Whenever the sun came up, they would let you go out to the yard. If the sun started rising at 5 p.m., a quarter to 5, they call them the rec yard move. So you gotta be ready. And then after that, they call mainline. So mainline is breakfast, y'all. So so they don't know, So I would go out to the yard and I'll stay out there until they shut the yard down in the morning because they would do a count. So while I'm in there, I would clean up. Then after I clean up, I would go back out to the yard in the afternoon, only in the summertime, spring and summer. Because you have to get ready for the competitions.
That's cool, man. So yeah, the reason I'm asking is because like when I tell people the kind of workouts I was doing in prison, a lot of them don't believe me. Like when I first like got in, I built up to this, but I would wake up in the morning, do 1,000 push-ups, sets of 30. I would do like 30 sets. It was like 900. Then, second rec, me and my homeboy would go out on the track, lunge the whole mile track and, take breaks, but get it done. And, and people don't believe that, but bro, calisthenics, like you can get so conditioned. It's unbelievable.
They used to think I was crazy. When I got the pole out, they didn't have a pull-up bar. So what we did was there's a part in the rec room where you could tear the sheet and you loop the sheet and you could take a mop stick and slip it up through there. So what I would do, I would go on there and do 20 pull-ups, come on and do a clip of 100. And they used to look at me like I was crazy, push-ups. And I would do all that in an hour's time.
Yeah, you were on that shit then.
Yeah.
So in Florida, man, I always ask people this in interviews because I'm curious how it is in other states. What was the craziest like booty bandit fight rape that you saw when you were in federal prison?